Breaking news today, El Salvador's president wants to have Bitcoin as legal tender, more than what it meets the eye, so let's dig into it. So we got Nayib Bukele, who is the president of El Salvador, says they want to turn Bitcoin into legal tender, which would allow debts contracted in Bitcoin to be settled in Bitcoin and would allow banks to transact in Bitcoin, which is huge. But this doesn't mean that it will turn Bitcoin into everyday currency, which is interesting. There's a lot of background to this as well. So there's the good and the fluffy side, which is like the political side. And then there's like what's happening in the background is also. It'll be interesting to see how that's unpacked with today's video. The president may want the Bitcoin as a country just to reduce its reliance on the US dollar, which is interesting. So Bukele tweeted today that bill would also make it cheaper and quicker for migrants to send money back home to El Salvador, which is, I guess, good because there's a lot of migrants that are out of El Salvador. But what's really interesting is their history. So they've gone from having their national currency, the colon, I hope I pronounced that correctly, which was collapsing under hyperinflation. To save the economy, El Salvador declared the US dollar as their legal tender, which happens with these low economy countries. And El Salvador began to phase out the colon the following year, and the dollar has dominated ever since. So Bukele is proposing to do with Bitcoin what El Salvador did with the dollar in 2001, which is interesting. And since the country already scrapped its national currency in the favor of the dollar, there is little to lose by allowing people to choose freely between two legally equivalent alternative currency options. So they've done it before, so it looks like it's quite possible, but there are some more difficulties as well. Bukele is unlikely to fulfill the wants of Bitcoin maximalists by promoting decentralized finance and scrapping this country's centralized bank. That's gonna be a pretty tough gig. The move towards Bitcoin may preempt potential sanctions from Biden administration as well, because USA is probably not so happy that, El Salvador is pulling the plug on dollar and going to Bitcoin. And it's really interesting to see how Bukele is playing this game. So Bukele has purged his political opponents from the country's justice system. So purge meaning getting rid of his political opponents. And on June 3, the Salvadoran Congress, dominated by himself, passed a law that extended the president's control of the central bank. So he's wanting to take steps and he's bringing more power to himself so that this becomes possible, but people are seeing through this. And this will strip the private sector's power to lobby for the election of central bank board members, which is very, very ominous. Now, perhaps it's the way of thumbing his nose at the dollar or the US authorities, or to stem the flow of the dollar to that country. So El Salvador is unlikely to become a Bitcoin nation anytime soon. So whilst it looks like, there's this big move forward, there's still a lot to be done at this point in time. So now let's have a look at the man himself, how he is actually packaging this all up. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just interesting to know what's behind this and what's been the public motive behind making Bitcoin the tradable tender, the legal tender of El Salvador. So Bitcoin has a market cap of $680 billion. Yay. If 1% of it is invested into El Salvador, that would increase the GDP by 25%. So needless to say, El Salvador is not the most economically prolific nation. On the other side, Bitcoin will have 10 million potential new users and the fastest growing way to transfer $6 billion a year in remittance, right? Besides, a big chunk of those $6 billion is lost to intermediaries. By using Bitcoin, the amount received by more than 1 million low-income families will increase in the equivalent of billions of dollars every year, and this will improve lives and future of millions. So he's now implicating a moral obligation in making Bitcoin the legal tender of El Salvador and many other, economically underperforming nations. Furthermore, 70% of El Salvador's population doesn't have a bank account. That is alarming and work in an informal economy. So they just cash in hand. Financial institution is not only a moral imperative, here we go, but also a way to grow the country's economy, providing access to credit, savings, investment, and secure transactions, which is fair enough. We hope that this decision will be just the beginning in providing a space where more of the leading innovators can reimagine the future of finance, potentially helping billions around the world. My reflection is that, yes, if your centralized banking system of a country is doing a shit job and is not improving the economy, then get rid of that centralization, then decentralize it. Moving into Bitcoin, I think, could be a really good move. But you know what? This guy has a lot of work cut out for him. It's also interesting to note that he's got his Bitcoin eyes on his profile picture. There he is. Boom. Moving from this, we're looking at Ethereum. We've got some bullish moves that we want to expect for June and July for Ethereum. Major network upgrades in July. We know that there's going to be an Ethereum proposal 1559, EIP 155 now, which I have done a coverage about. The update is anticipated to do away with the Ethereum network's major issue, which is a higher transaction fee. So all to do with scaling, all to do with mass adoption, right? Reducing the fees, increasing the transaction per second. People are all over that shit right now. And we have L2 solutions to that, which is like your Polygon, which is like your Uniswap with Arbitrum upgrades. So we are seeing that there is a genuine move from there. And Ethereum at the root of its problem wants to solve that issue at the same time, which is really encouraging. And people expect this to do really well and bring the Ethereum's price up nice and high because more and more people are going to be jumping into Ethereum as a blockchain, as a network. How are they going to do it? Simple explanation is that they're going to burn a portion of the gas fees that would otherwise end up in the miners' pockets. It's going to just be burned into the market, reducing the supply of Ethereum. Yes, reducing the supply of Ethereum may mean that it will increase the price of Ethereum based on very simple supply and demand principles, but that is a very small side effect, well, spin-off effect of that move. So don't think of this as, oh, reducing supply, the price is going to go up. But more importantly, it's going to improve the functionality and the congestion that the Ethereum network experiences every day due to its massive amount of transaction that it needs to handle. So does that mean it's bullish for Ethereum? Well, technically yes, but there is always the other side of the coin, pun entirely intended. So what they're saying, Vitalik is saying, it's create a more efficient fee market and simplify the gas payment process for clients and decentralized applications. But some believe that EIP 1559 is not as bullish for Ethereum as it appears to be. Kyle Samani, managing partner at Multicoin Capital, argue that if the bids for Ethereum USD goes up, Ethereum will still become expensive to use, which is a fair argument. I'm not going to discount that at all. So a potentially deflationary Ethereum, thanks to EIP 1559's fee burning mechanism, which I explained to you about, may enhance the assets appeal among the planet's wealthiest investors. So for the rich people, they're still going to jump in anyway. That's what the conclusion was. So I believe that the market is controlled by the whales, okay? And you know what? Screw my belief, because that is actually the fact. When the whales get in, people jump in. And that's how small traders like you and I can become profitable, that we do as the whales do, because they know what they're doing, they've done the research, and they have a plan much more rational and better than we ants do. So that's an interesting element. So I would suggest that yes, whilst the price might increase and the gas fees will follow as well, and it defeats the purpose. Either way, there's an increase in demand of Ethereum, which is very bullish in this regard. So a decreasing amount of Ethereum on exchanges. Recent Glassnode shows data that Ethereum continues to flow out of the cryptocurrency exchanges after its 40% price crash. And that is not necessarily a bad sign, because when the Ethereum leaves the exchanges, where is it going to? Well, it's going to wallets, right? They're anticipating their higher dollar-based returns in the future. So people are just locking that up and just basically diamond handing right through. And it also means that they want to deposit them in decentralized finance and liquidity pools to earn consistent interest rates and returns into the future. And you know what? We are seeing that staking popularity is the natural outcome of an asset class growing in maturity. Jeremy Welch, Kraken's vice president of the product, said in an interview with CoinDesk, whereas 3 years ago, holders were mainly interested in securing short-term gains. And even now, right? Like in the last 4 months, that's what people were interested in doing. Many are now confident locking up tokens to earn passive income. Why? Conviction is growing in the longevity of crypto assets as a respectable new asset class. So let's have a look at what's happened to the market in that regard. We are seeing that Bitcoin, Ethereum holding its movement sideways. There hasn't been a crazy movement over the global scale of crypto market cap, and also that the dominance is sort of slowly decreasing on Bitcoin. We can see that Ethereum is increasing faster than Bitcoin, which means that there is going to be a very likely scenario of the flipping, and we see signs of that happening right now. Binance is looking strong. I say the top 3 coins that I'll be looking at for the month of June right now is Ethereum, is Binance, and Cardano, because of just their frequency, their hype, as well as the use case that just keeps piling on to the validity of these platforms. Not to mention that in some interesting way, Ethereum, Binance, and Cardano are competitors against each other. So yeah, there's a lot of people that are quite bullish on Ethereum. And with that being said, I think the flipping is becoming nearer and nearer. We see that there are various metrics where the Bitcoin is becoming secondary to Ethereum, the transaction count flipping, the transaction volume flipping, and then the trading volume is already flipping already in that regard. And we're getting very close to having active addresses becoming larger than Bitcoin as well. And of course, the market cap that is to follow as well. So it looks like that this is a very likely scenario. Speaking of Ethereum, I just want to bring to your attention Polygon Matic and why that has done so well in the month of May when everything else was just dropping like flies. Ethereum rivals like Polkadot, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, and also Cardano would also seem ready to gain in this market. One of the reasons why Polygon was able to grow so much in May was that it was providing a solution for Ethereum's problem, which is the scalability, the high gas fees, the transaction speed, all that kind of stuff. So then why isn't Rivals and other chains like Polkadot, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, and Cardano growing like Polygon did? Is because they're rivals, whereas Polygon is a side chain. So it's not a main chain, it's a side chain. It's an L2, layer 2 solution to Ethereum. It benefits from Ethereum's dominating network effects and thus holds an edge over blockchains that seek to replace the market leading giant. Perhaps that's why tokens powering Ethereum rivals, Polkadot, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, suffered a double-digit loss in May, even as Matic extended a full-month run of gains. A recent string of flash loan attacks also has been a bit of a factor in pushing Binance Smart Chain down as well. So there are ways that these new chains need to make an improvement on. So imagine Ethereum's up here in terms of its development. And then you've got Binance and all these other coins that are starting from scratch that needs to be better than Ethereum. Whereas Polygon is already starting on the shoulder of the giant that is Ethereum, and it's already gone fast. So of course, there's going to be a better view and a vision for Polygon into its future. While Matic proved remarkably resistant in the face of Bitcoin's price crash, it wasn't completely immune. Yes, we've seen the dips that it had, but for those of you who average into these positions, you guys have made some good money. So congratulations on that regard. So looking ahead, what's happening? There's actually a lot of people that are jumping into this, that are rich and that are smart, that know what they're doing. So we've got Mark Cuban that's jumped into Polygon, but not to mention that there's other institutions that are jumping in. The Trader Chain's Mancini said he expects more institutional inflows into DeFi assets and a continued rally in Matic, albeit after some downside in June. The token has come under pressure this week. So there is going to be more institutional demand coming in. And you know what? Let's have a think about what this layer 2 scaling solution is going to be even after the Ethereum upgrade. Now the argument is, once Ethereum is upgraded, especially the EIP 1559 or the Ethereum 2.0, is L2 solutions like Polygon going to not matter so much anymore? Well, the argument is quite the contrary. The Polygon CEO Sandeep Nilwal said he's confident that layer 2 scaling solutions will prevail even after the upgrade allows Ethereum transaction costs to decline. Ethereum 2.0 will become 64 times more scalable than Ethereum is right now, but the demand is 1,000 times more than where we are. So you will need L2 scalability for sure. So I hope that's been informative for you guys to sort of pick up the information, I guess, sort of the dust of crypto information that we experienced today. Yes, obviously El Salvador is a big news, but there's all of this happening in the background. This month, still very bullish on Ethereum, still very bullish on Binance and also on Cardano. And look, just thought I'd bring your attention to the pool that I am staking cake with. I did a video on this not 2 days ago. And look, I've just staked about $1,000 worth of cake, and less than a couple of days, I was able to make about $4 USD. So just a bit of an update. This thing works. This is interesting. So if you want to get behind this, go for it. Guys, in my channel, I talk about cryptocurrency every day, daily updates, daily videos, any tutorial videos, you can find it on this channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you haven't done so, please make sure you go and like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Check me out on TikTok as well. If you're from TikTok, I'm a lot more informative on this channel, so please consider subscribing, and I'm sure you'll be getting the information from the source, factual, fact-based, and it's going to make you a lot better informed investor into cryptocurrency and many other asset types as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.